Our second playoff blitz wildcard game preview edition of the Orange is Orange or Browns podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network, is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Aligned Health Center. Aligned Health Center was with us all last year and has come on board as a special presenting sponsor all playoffs long. Aligned Health Center is the first chiropractic biophysics clinic in Northern Ohio. The team at Aligned Health Center helps patients with back pain, neck pain, migraines, ADHD, digestive issues, sleep disturbance, whiplash, scoliosis, and much more. And along with chiropractic biophysics, Aligned Health Center is also the leading clinic in regenerative medicine. You may have heard of it as stem cell injections. And listen, you don't have to be an NFL player to get it done or have this treatment. If you have low back pain, shoulder pain, knee pain, arthritis, check out the Regenerative Medicine Clinic at Aligned Health Center. Come in for a free consultation, get some imaging done and x-rays to see how Aligned Health Center can help you. No multiple shots, and it's complete with physical therapy built into the process, so there's no downtime. And look, it gets even better. Aligned Health Center doesn't charge people for x-rays or exams, and they don't bill you later. They let you know right away up front how much it's going to cost, and they're transparent. Hey, they're the #1 clinic for a reason, but don't take our word for it. Here's what former Browns punter David Zastudil has to say about Aligned Health Center.
This is Dave Zastudil, former Cleveland Browns punter and big fan of the doctors and staff at Aligned Health Center. I want to say good luck to the Orange and Brown, and please go check out my friends at AlignedHealthCenters.com. They sure helped me after my playing career was over. Go Browns!
Call Aligned Health Center today at 440-385-7357 or visit the website at AlignedHealthCenters.com to make an appointment and to learn more about how Aligned Health Center can help you. Again, that's 440-385-7357 or visit AlignedHealthCenters.com. In this episode, Jeremy and I break down the wild card game against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday Night Football. We start with the current state of the Browns. We talk about that, and then we bring on former Browns defensive back and friend of the show, Felix Wright. Yes, Felix Wright again on the pod 3 years later to preview the game. Jim Donovan, take us away, baby.
45-40, run, William, run! He's got blockers in front, 5, touchdown! Joshua Cribbs! Snap back, ball down, can't block! They blocked the kick!
This is the Orange is Orange or Browns podcast, part of the Press Play Podcast Network. I'm your host, Chase Smith, and with me, as always, Browns insider Jeremy Powell. Jeremy, the weekend is finally here. Finally, after a crazy week, time for some football.
I cannot wait. Starting at 1 o'clock tomorrow, baby. It's a football marathon. And me and Hunter, my son, as most of you know, are super pumped to sit on the couch, watch some football. And Hunter will be monitoring our playoff fantasy team we drafted. So it's going to be a blast, man.
I saw that. And what better way to just kind of put the events of the week behind us than to watch football with the people that we love and care about.
Absolutely.
I wasn't sure if this weekend was ever going to come. Some Browns fans thought it never would come. But here we are. The Browns, Jeremy, are in the wild card playoffs. They won 11 games. We've talked about their accolades, ad nauseum, but it is here and it's time to show up or shut up, Jay.
No, I absolutely agree with that. Look, the time for talk is done. The time for getting ready. Well, we didn't really get to get ready, but it's all time now to get out on the field and Baker loves the spotlight. Baker's always performed well in the spotlight dating back to college. So I actually cannot wait to see what Baker Mayfield does Sunday night, how he reacts to the stage, how he plays. I have a feeling we're going to see the best of Baker, and I can't wait.
And it does seem that he thrives in these conditions. A walk-on Heisman winner. Everywhere he's gone, he's been discredited. And it seems like right when his back's up against the wall here for the Browns, he has put some of his best games on the field. Is everything riding on Baker Mayfield on Sunday night?
Look, I don't want to say everything's riding on him, but look, who wins games in the playoffs, right? Who carries you? It's your quarterback. Your quarterback has to make plays and not make mistakes to win the game. I mean, the Browns are at their best when Baker Mayfield's protecting the ball and making plays. So it is imperative that Baker protect the ball and hit a couple big plays tomorrow. And like I said, I can't wait to see if Baker's up for the challenge. I think he is. I think he's going to rise to the occasion, and we're going to see the Baker Mayfield we saw at Oklahoma in big games in the spotlight. And I just can't wait to see it.
It's not like Baker is too scared or will shy away from a moment. That's not in his DNA at all. I don't think the moment's going to be too big for him, Jeremy. I don't think the adversity is going to be too much. I think and we talked about this on our pre-show that we were going over the 17 draft and how everything kind of worked out. But like, he is the perfect quarterback for this imperfect team at this imperfect year, that he was able to adjust, to be fluid, to take coaching, to listen, and then to apply it on the field. And there is maybe two other quarterbacks that I would want on my team going into this game. Patty Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers. And that's it. Jay, that's it. Then it's Baker effing Mayfield. Okay. And this is setting up, and we talked about this perfectly, just like a sequel to Moneyball. We have this crazy season. We finally get the coach that D Podesta wants. I don't know. Did we talk about this the last time? We've recorded so much. I don't even know what we've said or haven't said, what's on air, off air. I have no clue. I'll say it again. We have D Podesta, who's like, hey, I've been on this club. You brought me on to make these decisions. You don't go with my opinion, but you finally do. And now we have success. And now we brought in the young talent. We have all these guys. And oh my gosh, now the coach I've wanted can't be in the wild card. First time we've made the wild card in X many years. And now it's got to be on the quarterback that has always been discredited and counted out. I just see it. And Jay, I'm feeling really, really good. I don't want to give away too much to about the end of the show and our predictions, but I'm feeling really good about it, Jay.
Yeah, I'm feeling really good as well. And, Stefanski had a great line today in his press availability via Zoom in his house. When they asked him if he was going to give the team a pregame speech, because it turned out he is allowed up till game time in the locker room to give a speech via Zoom or however they want to do it. And he said, I don't think the guys need me to tell them how big a game this is. Mm-hmm. And that's something, because everybody talks about he's an even-killed guy, win or lose. You're going to get the same Kevin Stefanski, a guy who's going to come to work, who's going to be prepared, who's going to prepare his team. And I just think he is, and like he said, it's not his team, it's the Cleveland Browns, but he has definitely put his stamp on this team, and the team has definitely taken on the identity of its coach. And I just think it's just like the perfect marriage. And like you said, it's so funny that it all comes back almost to a Moneyball sequel where we hire the guy, he finally gets his chance. Now the guy has to miss the game. The extra motivation, I've heard multiple players saying now they want to win this one for Joel and they want to win it for coach, so they get to have their playoff game next week. Mm-hmm. It's a fantastic story. It's Hollywood wouldn't take the script, right, if they were to win this game. But I just can't imagine how these guys are feeling this night. And because look how excited we are. Imagine being involved in the game. So just an awesome feeling. Can't wait to see what happens.
Well, they'll take the script and Brad Pitt's back and Jonah Hill, and they get some guy to play.
But just think about it, Chase.
Like some Hollywood hunk to play Stefanski, and they got like a rugged Baker. Like it's going to be a fairly easy script to sell.
Who's got the beard to play Stefanski? Who's got the gray? Remember the guy? Oh, from Grey's Anatomy. What was his name from Grey's Anatomy? The guy who played the doctor that all the chicks liked. Same look. Okay, he would play. Stefanski. No, I cannot remember his name.
I was better with. I feel like off air, I'm going to be able to rattle like 5 people that would be great for this. We'll do that in the off season when we have time in off season. We'll cast the Moneyball sequel. That'd be a great episode.
That's what I said. But just if we were to win this game, I mean, there's so many. We talk about narratives and storylines. There would be so many narratives, many storylines. They save the team. They let Joel come back next week, play in his first playoff game. You get Coach Stefanski back. It's an awesome thing, and I just hope it happens.
So let's talk about Bitonio and coach. So Jay, where do we stand now? Who is out? What coaches are out? Like what is going on with the team? Where do we stand on Friday and Saturday going into Sunday game time?
Well, look, as bleak as it all looked earlier in the week, the only players that are 100% out are Ronnie Harrison, Joel Bitonio, and Kadero Hodge. Now, there's no guarantee that we get Harrison Bryant, Malcolm Smith, and Denzel Ward back Sunday, but they could. Now, I actually saw today that I believe Malcolm Smith could be back tomorrow, as early as tomorrow, and Harrison Bryant, I believe, as well. But then Sunday would be the day that Denzel Ward could come off the list. That's if they're asymptomatic. So the minimum time you have to spend on the COVID list after actually testing positive is 10 days. You can only come out after 10 days if you are asymptomatic. BJ Goodson came out after 10 days. So he was asymptomatic. We're hoping, from what I've heard and what I've seen, all these guys are at least doing okay. So hopefully they were, quote unquote, asymptomatic, and they can all get back. coach-wise, Bill Callahan, who I think is the biggest loss, will not be out there. We did get Chad O'Shea back today, who's the receiving coach and the passing game coordinator. So that's a big one to have back. Callie Bronson, I believe, will move. I believe she is going to still assist with the wide receivers officially this week. So I think they'll be able to navigate that. I think Kevin Stefanski and Bill Callahan are the big ones. But as we've said, Alex Van Pelt, AVP, he's been in Baker's hip pocket all year. They're speaking the same language. And so I don't think we'll miss the play calling as much. And with Mike Prefer, we have a guy who's actually filled in that late notice as a head coach when Mike Zimmer had his emergency eye surgery. I remember that he almost died. And I had to have an emergency eye surgery the night before a game in Minnesota, and Mike Prefer filled in as the head coach for him that game. So he's had a little experience filling in on short notice like this. So I think the Browns are in good hands as far as that goes. I mean, you can't quantify how much Coach Stefanski has meant to this team, but if he says prepared him as well as we think he has, they should be able to get through without him.
You've targeted Prefer for years. You've always said that you think he could be a great head coach. Why do you think – and you've mentioned special teams coaches particularly. Why do you think they maybe have a better feel for what it takes to be a head coach in the NFL? What about a special teams coach do you feel like gives them an edge?
It's ironic. I was having this conversation earlier today. I think one of the big reasons why special teams coaches make good head coaches is they don't get too involved in the offense or defense. If they get the right guy as a coordinator, they'll let him cook. They'll let him work. There won't be those headbutting, that you may have between an offensive head coach and an offensive coordinator. And I think that's part of it. And I also think they kind of work with all the players, right? You got guys from offense and defense playing special teams. And Mike Prefer actually said this too, so I don't want to take all the credit. But he said part of the reason he thinks that special teams coaches make good head coaches is because they work with both sides of the team. They kind of see it from a different angle, a different lens, the same guys that are playing on both sides of the ball, their strengths and weakness, what they can do, how they can help the team. So I think that's part of it. I think the part of it, like I said, that they can allow a defensive coordinator to kind of have his space and do his thing, and an offensive coordinator the same way. You don't see John Harbaugh meddling too much with the offense and the defense. And he's probably the best example of a special teams coach that took over a program and has been elite.
He's been in the Browns special teams coach since 2019. Jeremy, does he have the most to win if the Browns win on Sunday night, or would you give it to Baker or someone else?
I don't think it's Prefer. I think, like he said, he's just a placeholder until Coach Stefanski is back, and this is 100% his team. I think Prefer I think he's a career special teams coach. I don't think, from some unfortunate incidents past and stuff, I think that he's where he's going to be. I think the person with the most to gain is Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield wins this game under all these circumstances. He'll go from one of the better quarterbacks in the league to legend status quick, especially in Cleveland, but not just Cleveland. It's a great story. Like we talked about, it's a great story. So Baker, under these incredible circumstances, goes into Pittsburgh, where we haven't won since 2003, and wins this game. He goes from excellent quarterback to legend real quick.
You don't think if Prefer comes out and coaches a great game and wins, he's going to get some looks?
I don't. I don't know if you're aware, he's got a little bit of baggage in his past, some stuff that had happened that I think is going to prevent him from ever getting a serious look as a head coach. But I think that I think he's here. I think he's a special teams coach, and he's going to be here as long as Stefanski's here.
Gotcha. I mean, I'm not trying to say Baker does have the most to win. Obviously, Baker has the most to win. And I don't think he has a lot to lose either. I think if he loses, like if we are at full strength and we lose, then Baker has a lot to lose. But with what's happened, this is, like you mentioned earlier on Twitter, by the way, welcome back on Twitter. We're playing with house money, Jay.
No, we really are right now. That's the one benefit to this whole thing. If we lose, what do people say? Well, they dealt with a lot this week. They had players down. But if we win, if we go in there and win, it's the story. It's not expected. It raises everyone's thought of the Browns, everything. But if you lose, well, you were expected to lose. You're in a tough situation and a tough year, and you got hit hard by the Rona and all that. So I just think we are in really are, as much as it can be in the NFL, we're in a win-win.
We really are. And hopefully we come away with the win on Sunday night. We'll talk about that here after the jump on the show. Jay, at dinner tonight, my family and I went out for dinner, which is very, very rare. It felt a little bit weird, but on the TV was NFL Network, and they were showing the playoff game from 2002. And it looks very, very old. One, because of the style of football they were playing, but two, because of how the uniforms looked, and they looked like baggy, and the helmets were really, really like
right.
oval and circular. And it was just like, this is a completely different game. But man, I just got so upset. That game was ridiculous. There was 5 minutes and 30 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and we were up 33-21. And I don't need to rehash it for people who I watched it. I didn't want to relive it, but I couldn't take my eyes off of it, Jamie. I knew what was going to happen, and I couldn't turn away. Oh my gosh. It was awful. Yeah. Have you watched that game lately?
I have. It's been on a few times over the past week, and I got caught in that trap a little bit as well. But let me tell you guys, Chase was definitely into it because he was live texting me during the replay. I have the text to prove it. Chase was in it. Oh man.
I was live texting the game to Jay, and I got fired up. And maybe not some of my best tweets or texts, but man, it was just so frustrating because we had it right there. And it was just Tommy Maddox. Just you feel like you're losing to
Tommy Gunn Maddox, the star of the XFL, the original XFL.
Yeah. Well, hey Jay, we're going to take a break. Felix Wright is going to come on the show once again. He played defensive back for the Browns, 85-90. He works currently with the Browns, Jersey Compliance, friend of the show, incredible guy. He's going to come on and help us preview the game. Is that cool?
Sounds good, baby.
All right, stick around and we'll catch you in a sec.
Hello, Brooks here with the Books with Brooks monthly book club podcast. We read one book a month and then we talk about it. Books like Stephen King's The Shining or Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. If you're on the hunt for book recommendations and enjoy sparkling conversation, come read along with us and then listen in.
Hey, the Roadman Kenny Rhoda. Join me and Dennis Maniloff on the Next Man Up podcast as we look at all the teams in the Buckeye State, the Browns, the Indians, the Cavaliers, the Buckeyes, and whatever's happening, you know we'll be talking about it here on the Next Man Up podcast.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Aaron Shipe, co-host of the Tim and Shipe Show. We're part of the Press Play Podcast Network, and we love talking college football. We talk everything from Florida Gators to the Ohio State Buckeyes. If you like college football, check us out. Thanks.
Hey, everybody, it's Sam Amico from Cavs on the Break, NBA podcast. Be sure to give us a listen for all your Cleveland Cavaliers recaps, analysis, breakdowns, draft talk, free agency. The list goes on and on. Give us a listen, Cavs on the Break, NBA podcast.
Hey, it's JD from the Hyman Podcast. Using a narrative storytelling approach, the Hyman Podcast was created to start conversations that need to be human. Week by week, I'll break down walls and barriers and make people wildly uncomfortable, all the while giving a voice to the voiceless and the marginalized. Consider this your personal invitation to be part of that conversation.
All right, we are back. Jeremy, we have with us today a very, very special guest, someone who was on board with us for the very, very beginning of the podcast. Before this was even, well, I don't want to say that because it's always been a thing and been successful. But Felix Wright, back 3 years ago, almost to the exact day, came on the pod, and we just had an incredible time. And Felix is back to talk Browns playoffs, Steelers, football. Felix, thank you for agreeing to come on the show again and talk with us, brother.
Well, I appreciate the invite, and I look forward to it. In 3 years, wow, that's outstanding. That means you guys are doing it right. You're still on the air, right?
We're trying, sir.
So, Felix, we wanted to ask you, this is really an unprecedented situation to have a playoff game with this little amount of actual on-the-field practice time. Do you think this is something the Browns can overcome? Have you ever seen anything like this? What are your thoughts on just this limited practice and what they can do?
Well, no, I've never seen anything like this. It's pretty crazy, pretty wacky what's going on. I've been listening to the radio throughout the day on everybody's ideals of what they think might happen. But, I do know that you do need a little bit of practice time. So I was happy to see that they got the facility opened and that they got some practice time in today because, Zoom calls and walkthroughs can only do so much. I remember back when we were in the playoffs, we actually got a lot of our conditioning in just to get ready for that, because we know he's going to be at a different level. So that's the thing. Really, the only thing I'm really worried about as far as the mental part of the game. I think we're going to be fine. The physical part, I think, will make a difference. And their wind and just getting out to be able to just run and just handle be strong through the 4 quarters.
But Felix, it's not like this is the first week that they've had this kind of adversity. They were, on and off a lot last week, and then the Jets, it was out of sync. So do you think that in a way could help them deal with it this week better, or is it just a continual mountain that just keeps getting bigger and bigger? And in the NFL, you can't have 3 weeks like that. Where do you think that falls?
I don't necessarily think it helps them, but I think that they understand where they're at. And like I said, they've done a lot of Zoom calls in the past, but I think they're going to be resilient in this game. I mean, there's a lot at stake at this game, and I think, like I said, I think the middle part they're going to be fine, because they've played 16 games, and but like I said, the physical part I think is going to be important to where they can get out and get out and run a little bit. I know that they're going to probably work out in the morning and then head to Pittsburgh from there. I think we'll be fine. We're at a heavy disadvantage. We got some key players that's going to be missing the game. And it didn't seem like the Pittsburgh side of it's not going to be missing any, other than maybe, Joe Hayden, I think, is one of the starters. They're pretty much at full strength. But you know what? The last 4 out of 5 weeks, they haven't really played very good football. So if you figure they, out of the 20 quarters that they played in the last 5 games, 2 of those quarters, they've really only played really well. So I'm counting on them staying at the same level that they were. You can't, in football, I don't think you can just turn on the switch and turn off the switch.
Right.
So, although they didn't play their starters last week, I don't think that really makes a difference. Maybe, they might be a little more rested, but I think we got every opportunity in the world. I think we just got to do the basic fundamentals, and that's not to start off like we did last, in week 6 and the starting off with a turnover right off the bat.
Yeah.
So I think that's really going to be key. The turnovers are going to really be the key to this ball game, because it was the last game that we played them there.
So you're a former player, and the players on the team now, are they looking at this adversity as, well, hey, we get kind of like a bye week going into the playoffs, or just as a bunch of extra noise that distracting from the game? Like, as a player, how would you approach it, Felix, if you were a defensive back for the Browns in 2021?
Well, I would, obviously you got to be on the Zoom calls, and I don't know how long they're on the Zoom calls throughout the day, but I would definitely go out and get my run in. So I would, get in the neighborhood, run the streets, just to keep my wind together and running to stay in decent shape. Now you're not going to get out of shape, but you just want to make sure that you keep your wind and you're out there, because as a defensive back, when you're on the field, it's 100% run. So so you want to keep that together. That's really the only thing I'm worried about. Just they get out and stretch it out, and especially the guys that are that have some dings here and there, they need treatment. So I don't know how they work that out as far as the guys getting treatment. If he had an ache or a pain here and there, how do you get that treated? So I don't know how that all worked for them while they were out. But, if it was, then, there's going to be an issue with that healing properly.
Essential oils, Felix.
Essential oil.
Epsom salt.
No way. No.
So Felix, I'm sure you've seen the noise that JuJu Smith-Schuster, seems like this guy is a distraction every week now, but he came out and he kind of trashed the Browns and, kind of said the same old Browns thing. And they have a couple good players, I think, is one of his quotes. Now, there's a lot of talk about that kind of stuff on social media and in the media. Does that kind of stuff really motivate players, or once the game starts, is that kind of forgot?
No, I think it's some bulletin board stuff that you can kind of put up there. He's kind of wore out his welcome, I think, throughout the league with going out dancing on their logo and the whole works. And, for me, I know that if somebody did that when I was playing, I would he'd be a target. I would come after him. And So I don't understand why he would do that to kind of add fuel to the fire. But it is what it is. Back in my day when we were playing, we didn't really have to deal with social media. So we didn't have to, that was one less thing we had to worry about. I'm sure, in listening to the radio today, I heard that some of their radio people for the Steelers aren't real happy with the way JuJu's acting here this season as well. So I think he's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way. And I hope, one of our safeties can come up and give him a pretty good shot to let him understand, hey, we don't roll like that.
Felix, I want to touch on one other thing. It was announced earlier this week that the Steelers were going to have some fans, and then they kind of retracted and said there was only allowed to be 2,500 people in the stadium as a whole. So there's going to be some family, the players, and that's it. How would you deal with that? And how weird would that be to be in just big, giant stadium that's empty? Is that something the players you think about, or do you think once the game starts, that's kind of gone?
Yeah, well, once the game starts, that's kind of gone. But it is kind of different. It is kind of weird. In Cleveland, we had probably the most fans that you could get in the NFL this year, and our fans were really loud. But it is a little different when you go in there because sometimes as a home team, you kind of feed off your crowd, and certainly in Cleveland, we have an advantage there. Just like in Seattle, the 12th man, they have a significant advantage there. And when we go in and play the Steelers, those fans, I think, make a difference as well, as far as, cadence and things on the offense and hearing things. And that's one less thing that the Brownies have to worry about when they go in there is the crowd noise, because there's not going to be a crowd. So, really it's motto, so it's a perfect setting for an away team to go into, to an opponent to, not have that to deal with.
Sure. Did you actually – this is pretty interesting, Felix. Did you actually hear Aaron Rodgers said that's part of the reason he had maybe his best season ever is because he could hear the opponent's calls, and he started picking them out during the game.
Oh, yeah.
That is pretty interesting. Hey, Felix, one more question. Are you still involved with the uniform compliance, and was that still a thing this year? Was that still a thing this year? Did they still – were they as tight as normal? Did they loosen it all? How was that going?
We did the same thing. We had we had a little more protocol that we had to go through to get in the stadium, but we were still on the field. We still did the same that we have been doing the last, I've been doing it for 20 years now. And we just hired Reggie Lang on about 5 years ago. So he's about 5 years. So there's actually 2 inspectors per game every week, which is kind of cool that we've enjoyed. But we still inspected. We still did the same thing. We did nothing changed in regards to that.
Felix, were you involved in any of the New Jersey design or input? I'm sure you got a sneak peek, huh?
Yeah, I got a sneak peek at them. I mean, this has been brewing for a couple of years where they said they were going to go back to the original jersey. So they went back. I mean, it's not the original, but they went back, and I like the new uniforms. I like the colors that we have. I never got a chance to wear the orange or brown pants. We were all white pants, and about 85% of the time we wear our white jerseys. So
my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. And, so we very rarely wore anything else. So, when we went to Dallas, we had to wear our brown jerseys, and occasionally we would wear our brown jerseys a couple of times a year, but we were pretty much all white. So I like the orange and brown. I really like that stuff.
I'm telling you, Felix, that orange pants, brown jersey combo, man, that is a sharp looking
guys.
uniform.
I gotta say, I'm not a fan of the orange pants. That's really unpopular. I like the white pant on white jersey.
Crazy.
It's my favorite. Or the white pant, orange, brown jersey. I don't know. Felix, do you have a favorite combination?
I kind of like that orange and brown. I mean, before I came here, the Cardiac Kids used to wear the orange pants, and then when Marty became the head coach, he kept us pretty much all white, which was really cool as well. I kind of like that as well. Mm-hmm. But I like the brown pants as well. The brown pants are really cool. I think that's probably what they'll be wearing tomorrow. They might be wearing the brown pants and the white jersey.
Ooh, is that so? That hasn't been released yet. Is that breaking news?
No, it has. They're going orange pants, white jerseys because that's what they wore last time they won in Pittsburgh in 2003.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, tomorrow. They just announced it about an hour ago. The
Orange
Browns will be
pants,
orange pants, white jersey. Yep.
Wow.
Well, you know what they say about Friday night news dumps?
That's
when they're nervous about the reaction.
I saw that video from 2003 of Tim Couch spiking that touchdown he ran in that game. We won about 10 times tonight.
So they wore orange pants back then in 2003?
Yeah, they did. 03 in that particular game. They didn't wear them a lot, but for whatever reason, that was a nationally televised game on a Sunday night on ESPN.
Wow.
And they wore them that night. So they're bringing it back. Tomorrow, Sunday night.
Well,
yeah, that's the first. I don't remember that game. Yeah, but I usually they wear white on white on those. I grew up in Missouri, so I was a big Chiefs fan growing up, and I used to love the red pants they used to wear on the road with the white jerseys. So it's going to be similar to that. Yeah.
Felix, one more jersey question. The Browns, thankfully, which I'm grateful for, have some of the louder personalities on their team that aren't afraid to express themselves, which I think is great. And you see OBJ and Jarvis, name a few, who like to, whether it's with a sneaker or with a visor or whatever, they kind of are doing for some cause or for some belief. Felix, has there ever been a time where you were called into an office or, kind of had an extra conversation with them or a head coach about what's going on?
Well, every year before the season starts in training camp, I have to go in there and speak to the team in regards to the do's and don'ts, and if you're in violation or not violation of the NFL rules. So, yeah, I mean, you always have that guy every year that is going to, cause you to talk to him and see what's happening. OBJ last year, we every game it was, if it wasn't a watch, it was a visor, it was a sock, it was his pants. And, OBJ is a really cool guy. I really like him, and he listens as well. So every time we asked him to make a correction, he did it. Yeah. Jarvis, the same way. And there's a few guys on the team that have their, that think they're trendsetters. And we try and tell them just, we're doing this because we want you to keep your money in your pocket.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like, that you're doing a good job when no one knows that you're doing your job kind of thing. Like you probably don't want to see, he was taken out of the red zone because of a visor or the watch or shoes. And this year, Felix, it's been a completely different story with the team and the chemistry. Have you noticed a change with the team's locker room chemistry and just how that's all done? And because you've seen a ton of coaches and and kind of like front offices with the team. How is this year different?
Well, it's different because I think Stefanski's got control of the team. I mean, that makes all the difference in the world. When your head coach is your true leader, I think it makes a big difference. There's order. They're just small things too. Like me and Reggie, we go into the locker room and we kind of see what's going on there. In years past, there's been music before the games, and I'm not really a believer in listening to music before the games. If you want to listen to music, you put your earphones on and listen to your own music because the music you might like, other people might not. So, that's one thing that's changed where you can just totally focus on the game. And I think that, the team is a lot more prepared for their opponents this year. And I think and that's the reason why when we played back in the 80s, I think that's one of the reasons why we were so successful is because we were students of the game. And I think not that they weren't in the past. I just think that this year it's more focus on your opponent, and you can tell that they're teached up and understand what they're trying to do to their opponent, which is important.
I agree 1,000%, Felix. And that's why, and I feel really silly for thinking this. That's why I'm feeling really good about Sunday night, Felix.
Yeah.
Like, I really feel like we have a shot. And I feel like even though the odds may seem to be stacked against us and we're like, how are you going to do that with 4 coaches out and these players out? And like, I feel like because of the culture that Stefanski and company have put into the team and the hard work they put in, Felix, I feel like we have a shot. Jeremy, am I crazy?
No, I don't think you're crazy at all. Look, and the playoffs are a different animal, right? So we'll see how the Browns respond come Sunday. But I feel like everything, starting today, especially, I started feeling a little better about the game, and I think we definitely have a shot.
Yes, I agree. I believe we have a shot as well. We like you said, it's gonna come down to turnovers. I feel there's going to be some turnovers in the game, and if we have less than them, I think we're going to be in great position. And I'm hoping that we can, if there's one game that I can mention that we need to start off is like the game we had against Tennessee, where we just jumped on them quick and poured it on, and they had to play catch up. And if Pittsburgh's got to play catch up with us, it's not going to be good for them. So if we can jump out quick and protect the ball, because if we jump out quick, then we can run the ball efficiently to run that clock down. And if we can do that, I think we'll be fine. But we can't start off like we did in week 6 against them, to where, they had 7 points right off the bat.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeremy's always big about playing in front of the chains. Jeremy, let's move to some of our predictions.
Can't get behind. Felix, am I right, though? You cannot get behind the sticks and play effective football at any level of football, from youth to the NFL. You have to be on time and on schedule.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
So Felix thinks that we're going to, or he sees that we could come out just like Tennessee, light it up and then take the air out of the ball. Jeremy, that's something that you've mentioned before. What do you see happening, Jay, in the game on Sunday night?
Look, I think that's what they're absolutely going to do. I think they're going to try to jump out early, get a lead, and then take the air out of the ball. And look, we talked about this with, I think, Mark Sessler the other day, and I heard Gerard Cherry say it on the radio locally, but Ben Roethlisberger, early in his career and even more now, is prone to making mistakes. And as Gerard said, he said, Bill Belichick always said, Ben will give you 3 chances a game. He'll make 3 mistakes a game, and you have to capitalize on them. And I think that's no different where I think he's going to give us a shot to either put the ball on the ground, take a pick, do something, and we need to take advantage of it. That, like Felix has been saying, that could be the difference in the game. Who wins the turnover battle and who's able to make the big play off that turnover. So I think Myles Garrett, some of these guys that first time in the playoffs, like Myles said today, he's going to be playing with his hair on fire. Maybe Myles gets that big strip sack. Maybe he forces the interception on a quick throw. But whatever it is, I think if the Browns are going to win this game, they're going to need a big play from the defense that either sets them up in field position or is a score in itself.
Yep.
I could definitely see this happening, the kind of game where we come out firing on cylinders, but I would not be surprised. Mike Prefer is going to be the one calling the shots on the sidelines. I would not be surprised if between Chubb and Hunt, we have 35 plus carries between them. I would not be surprised if it's a low scoring game, although I don't know if I'm torn. I can see them really just unleashing Chubb and Hunt. I think they've tried to preserve them as best as they could, especially in the first half. But I think they know that that's their most effective and consistent. Well, gosh, Baker hasn't thrown an interception in 27 passes. So I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do.
One in the last 8 weeks. Yep. One interception in the last 8 games.
So gosh, I do not know what's going to happen. All I know is I'm really excited and I'm feeling really good. And I'm going to say, I think the Browns are going to win. Felix, what do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I like you said, I think we got a good opportunity. We're going in at a disadvantage. And you know what? If we can go in there and beat them on 1 day of practice, or 1.5 days of practice, then we can beat anybody. So this would be a good test for us. If we go in there and beat them, these other teams better watch out.
I hear that, Jeremy. Yes, what you got, man? Give us a prediction for the game.
I'm going to say Browns 28, Steelers 17. The Browns get that defensive score, and we get out early, and then we take the air out of the ball. I think that's the game plan. I think that's what they're going to try to do. I think you're going to see Myles either strip sack or cause an interception, and the Browns defense is going to lead to a score, and the Browns are going to win 28-17, and it's going to be awesome. That's what I have to say.
Love it. I have to make a decision because it's boring to hear someone say, I don't know what's going to happen. Here's going to be the final score of the game. Browns 21, Pittsburgh 20. It's going to be a close one. But
Yeah.
I do believe we're going to win. Felix, do you have a score prediction, sir?
You know what? I don't, but I'm going to give you one here. I think the Brownies are going to score some points. I see it being, probably 28 to 28-24 around there. So yeah, so 28-24 Browns. Browns jump out early, and the last thing I want to do is be playing catch up ball. So we can stay ahead throughout and make them chase us. I think it's going to work in our favor.
Love it, love it, love it. Felix, thank you so much for coming on the show. Jeremy, thanks for your time tonight. Want to give shouts to our sponsors, Aligned Health Center, which actually, Felix, hey, don't you have some experience with Aligned Health Center?
I do. It's crazy. I've met Dr. Nick and Maria, and I went to their clinic there. I guess they call it a clinic. Yeah. And they really set me up. I've had some issues with my back and my neck, from football and a few accidents I'd been into, and I'd had some pain in my neck, and just by accident was talking to my insurance man one day, and he told me about them. So I went over and visited them and let them do their thing on me. I spent a lot of time with them on a weekly basis, and they got me right, and I've been right ever since. He told me once he corrected what he needed to correct that I shouldn't have any problems with it, and I haven't. So it's a good deal, and I've actually sent a handful of people over there that has said, boy, I'm glad you sent me there because he fixed me as well.
Neck pain, back pain, migraine, sleep disturbance, all those issues, they take care of you really well over there.
Absolutely. And in fact, I heard the commercial today on the fan. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah. They partnered with us through the playoffs, and they partnered with us last season too. They just wanted to get on board with what we were doing through the playoffs. And, it's great. Well, cool. Thanks for sharing that, Felix. I want to also give shouts to the Press Play Podcast Network. Thanks for making this possible. Jeremy, any final thoughts, brother?
Yes, actually, Chase. I've never been this excited for a weekend of football in my life. Look, it's the first time in NFL history we have 6 games this weekend, 6 playoff games, a bunch of intriguing matchups. It's pretty cool to me that we get to be the last game because I can watch all these games with anticipation, in case the game didn't go our way and you would be bummed out and not want to watch. So I'm so excited to watch all this football, 2 games, 2 days of it. It's going to be incredible. I can't wait. And I just can't wait to see how the Browns come out and how they handle the situation. That's another fascinating thing, Chase, we haven't really hit on. We don't know how the Browns players are going to respond to this. We've never seen Baker and Miles and Chubb and all these guys in this situation. So it's going to be fascinating just to see how they respond, how they come out, how they play, and with all the adversity surrounding it. Just can't wait. I'm excited.
Felix, thank you so much, man.
You got it. Hey, anytime. Let me know. You guys have a great evening.
You as well, sir.
Thank
Jeremy,
you.
We'll be in touch, man. Let's go, Brownies.
Let's go.
Here we go, Brownies. Here we go.
Ooh.
It's not